If you were holding a pair of scissors and the person in front of you couldn't fight back, what goes through your mind? Do you feel power, or do you feel a curiosity to see what's inside? It started with a rumor, a terrifying whisper that moved faster than the police could track. It spread through TikTok, through Facebook groups, and deep into the private line chats of Pattaya's nightlife workers. The rumor was specific. A young transgender woman had been found in a hotel room, her body hollowed out, her heart and her lungs gone, stolen for the black market. By the time the sun rose, the internet was convinced that a sophisticated organ trafficking ring had hit the tourist capital of Thailand. People were terrified. But the truth was actually much darker than a criminal syndicate. The truth involved a pair of scissors bought for 85 baht, a misunderstood culture, and a man driven by a curiosity so morbid, it defies belief. Today we are looking at the homicide of Woranan Mina Pannacha. We are going to break down the timeline of her final night. We're going to debunk the viral myths that surrounded her death. And we have to ask the hard question. In a city built on pleasure, who protects the providers? To understand why Mina died, you first have to understand where she lived. If you've ever been to Thailand, or even if you haven't, you've heard of Pattaya. For decades, it was known as the ultimate R&R spot for Western tourists, mostly American GIs, retirees, and European backpackers. But by April 2025, the city had changed. Post-pandemic Pattaya is a different beast. The Western expat economy has been overtaken by massive waves of tourism from East Asia, specifically China and India. The dynamic of the nightlife changed with it. It became faster, more transactional, and for the workers, much more dangerous. This is the era of what the Thai media calls gray Chinese business, or Tunjin Si Tao. It's a term used to describe criminals hiding in plain sight among legitimate tourists, involved in everything from call centers to crypto scams. And I'm curious, if you've traveled to Southeast Asia recently, have you noticed this shift in the tourism demographic? Let me know in the comments below, because this context is crucial to understanding why the public panicked so quickly when this crime broke. Enter Woranan Pannacha, known to her friends and family as Mina. Mina wasn't just a statistic. She was 25 years old from Nong Khai, a province right on the border of the Mekong River. And Mina was smart. Unlike many of her peers who relied on translation apps to talk to tourists, Mina had studied abroad in Taiwan. She spoke fluent Mandarin. This was her superpower in the new Pattaya economy. It allowed her to connect with the new wave of wealthy Chinese tourists on their own platforms, like WeChat. She was the Sao Lak, the main pillar of her family. Every baht she earned wasn't for luxury. It was being sent home to build a house for her parents. But sadly, that same linguistic skill, her ability to speak Chinese, is exactly what put her on the radar of the man who would kill her. On the other side of this tragedy is the suspect, Fu Tongyuan, a 42-year-old Chinese national. Now, usually when we hear about violence in nightlife districts, we think of a crime of passion, a drunk argument that goes wrong in the heat of the moment. But the evidence suggests Fu Tongyuan was different. Police would later recover CCTV footage from the night of the murder. It shows Fu entering a convenience store. He didn't buy alcohol. He didn't buy snacks. He bought a large rainbow-colored nylon bag. And he bought a pair of sharp scissors. This is the detail that sends a shiver down your spine. If you buy the weapon before the meeting, Can it really be a crime of passion, or was he hunting? Fu was an independent traveler. He wasn't part of a tour group. He was alone. And using WeChat, he found Mina. He likely chose her specifically because she could speak his language. They agreed on a price, 8,000 baht, about $230 for the night, which Woranan, Mina, Pannacha never woke up again. We have reconstructed the events of April 15th to April 16th, 2025, using police statements and forensic data. Here is exactly what happened. At 9:20 p.m. on April 15th, Fu Tong Yuan is seen on CCTV purchasing those scissors and the bag. He returns to his rented room in central Pattaya to wait. Around 10:45 p.m., Mina arrives. She meets Fu. She is likely confident. She speaks his language. She feels in control. They go up to his room together. By 11:30 p.m., according to Fu's later confession, things go wrong inside the room. He claims that Mina refused sexual intercourse after he had already paid. A dispute breaks out. Fu demands his money back. Mina, fighting for her boundaries, reportedly kicks Fu in the face, breaking his front tooth. This is the flashpoint. Fu snaps. But he doesn't use the scissors yet. He pins Mina to the bed. He uses his knees and hands. He strangles her. It wasn't quick. Strangulation is a brutal, intimate, and lengthy method of killing. Mina loses consciousness and eventually her life. Now we move past midnight into the early hours of April 16th. This is where the case enters the realm of nightmare. Mina is dead, but Fu isn't done. He drags her body from the bed to the bathroom, and he picks up the scissors he bought hours earlier. Fu told police he had watched a TV series about anatomy and was struck by a morbid curiosity. He wanted to see what was inside. He used the scissors to cut open her chest. He removed her breast implants. He removed her heart. He did not steal them. He simply took them out and placed them on the floor to look at them. By 2 a.m., panic sets in. Fu realizes he can't dispose of the body with the bag he bought. It's too difficult. He decides to run. He leaves the room, leaving the gruesome scene behind for the housekeeping staff to find. When housekeeping found Mina, the scene was so horrific that the first responders were traumatized. Because her chest was empty, that organ theft rumor exploded instantly. For 3 days, Pattaya was in a panic. People truly thought a gang was hunting trans women for parts. Meanwhile, Fu was on the move. He made it all the way to Suvarnabhumi International Airport. He was minutes away from boarding a flight back to Kunming, China. But Thai immigration police were faster. Alerted by the blacklist, they intercepted him at the gate. And in his pocket, they found Mina's mobile phone. In Thailand, the justice system does something unique called a tom fin, a crime reenactment. They dragged Fu back to the scene of the crime, in front of the media and the public. The footage of this is intense. Mina's father is there. He breaks through the police line and hits Fu with a water bottle. It's a moment of raw, unpolished grief. A father looking at the man who destroyed his family's future. And as for the rumors, on April 29th, forensic medicine released the official autopsy. The heart wasn't stolen. It was found piled next to the body. There was no black market deal, just one man's twisted psychology.
ไม่มีลมหายใจแล้วแล้วก็เห็นมีกางกายแล้วก็แกล้งศพก็เลยตัดแล้วเขาตัดคือเขามีประสบ你之前有没有杀猪会有这种弄死杀精尸体的经验有没有杀人经验没有没有他杀猪有没有没有我ไม่เคยพี่ขนาดฆ่าหมูไม่เคย
The tragedy didn't end with Fu's arrest. As I mentioned, Mina was the Sao Lak, the provider. She was building a house for her parents back in Nong Khai. That house now stands unfinished, a concrete skeleton and a monument to a life cut short. And how did the authorities respond? Did they increase safety in hotels? Did they legalize sex work to give women police protection? No. They launched a crackdown. In May 2025, just weeks later, police raided the beaches. They arrested women from Uzbekistan and Uganda. They paraded them in front of cameras. Think about the irony here. A Thai woman was killed by a Chinese tourist in a private room. The government's solution was to arrest African and Central Asian women standing on the street. It was security theater, looking like you're solving the problem without actually touching the root cause. Mina Pannacha's death is a wake-up call that was tragically hit on snooze. It highlights the vulnerability of the LGBTQ+ community in the sex trade. Because prostitution is criminalized, workers operate in the shadows. They can't ask for ID, they can't demand security. And when they walk into a room, they are on their own. Futong Yuan is currently awaiting trial and faces the death penalty in Thailand. But for Mina's family, justice is a hollow word. I want to hear your thoughts. Do you think the organ theft rumor distracted people from the real issue of worker safety? And what do you make of the police crackdown on the beach? Let's discuss it in the comments. If you found this deep dive valuable, please like the video. It helps these stories get told. And subscribe for more investigations into the crimes that shape our world. This is LJ Easton. Be safe, and I will see you next time.